Good morning. Welcome to our Mandala universes. My name is Amy, and I'm going to wait for a few people to join. Hi, Cheryl. I'm happy to see you here. And I'm happy to be here. Today is Sunday, the fourth Sunday of the month. Next Sunday, it will be January and the new year. I'm just getting used to writing 2025. Change. How are you today, Cheryl? Carol's here. Good morning, Carol. Michelina's here. It is a treat for me to see you all on a Sunday. And for a while, I am going to be leading on Sundays, the second and the fourth ones for Cheryl, because it's a work day for her and it's difficult to get ready to go to work and lead mandalas on the same day. Cheryl says, thanks for making my morning so much easier. I'm happy I can help. I might have to reach out in February for some coverage. I'm going to be traveling abroad, out of the country, I should say. I don't know what abroad actually means. Does it mean overseas? Because I'm going to be in Mexico, so I don't know if that's technically abroad. It's probably abroad. I'm going to be in Mexico in February, so I'd like someone to lead for me, but I have to look at my calendar, and that's way in the future. Right now, we're here, we're present. How's everyone checking in today? I'm checking in with ease. I've had a project looming over me these last few days, and I finished it last night, so I feel really good about that. I wish I had something to set you all on, because I'm like looking down. Deb's here, Skyle's here. Well, let me do a quick intro if anyone's catching us in the replay. This is our Mandala universes. We gather every single day I'm in Mountain Time, so 9 o'clock a.m. We've been doing it for 4+ years, almost 5, and we do kind of the same thing, different hosts. We do a check-in, we share a reading, we do a grounding / meditation, and then we draw. I keep mine in a notebook. We fill our notebooks with kind of our state of being at the moment. Sometimes abstract, sometimes a little more representational, sometimes words, sometimes they take up a whole page. So that's what we're here for. Stick around and see if you like it. And then if you do, you can subscribe and comment. We keep our comments to subscribers only, and that just helps keep the flow. So Deb says sunshine. I am bringing you sunshine. Today I am wrapped in a blanket and a sweatshirt, but I'm still outside. Cheryl wants to know where I'm going. My mom and I are taking a trip to Oaxaca that is focused on embroidery. So we go and we meet with local artisans who teach us different ways and cultural traditions. And they're history of embroidery, and over the time we have a lot of studio time and a lot of free time to explore. So, but we're kind of mostly in Oaxaca, and I think it'll be a really fun opportunity for my mom and I to travel together, to create, and to get to Oaxaca. I've heard such great things, so I am excited. Michelina says she's checking in worn out. And Carol says, finally cleaning out my art room. 5+ years in the making. Baby steps, it will get done. First steps today. And Michelina says, hooray, Carol. And yeah, hooray, Carol. So you're starting. That's the hardest part. So you've done the hardest part. And I think Michelina says that sounds so lovely in regards to my trip to Oaxaca. And Cheryl also says, ooh, it's some needle and thread. Yeah, embroidery is not something I've done a lot of, but I like it. I like the act of small, mindful, meditative stitches, I guess. Claudia's here, and she says, good morning, Amy and everyone. Hi, Claudia. And Pamela's here. Hi, Pamela. Claudia, I have been thinking about you ever since you said you had one of the best Christmases since your mom was alive, which was like 30 years ago, I think you said. So I'm just so happy you had a wonderful Christmas. It brought me joy. Thought I'd let you know. Claudia says, I came in on the tail end that you're going to Oaxaca. Yeah, I'm going in February, Claudia. I'm excited. And Carol, you're getting some strong arms. Strong arms. And says, yay. And Micheline says, hi, Skyle. Skyle says, what a delightful trip. Yeah. And it's a small group. I think there's like 12 of us. So it should be not too much drama or anything. So I'm going to start us grounding, and I just thought I would read a little something from the Book of Alchemy by Suleika Jawad. This is the one that Pamela is also kind of reading. It's kind of a 100-day project journaling prompts, and it's broken down into sections. One's called Beginning, one's called On Memory, one's called On Fear, one's called On Seeing, one's called On Love, etc. I'm currently in chapter 4 on seeing, and what Sulaka does is she writes kind of an intro on the topic on fear, on seeing, and then there are 10 different writers who contribute a piece of writing and a writing prompt. So I'm going to, the whole on seeing chapter was so good, and I don't even know exactly where to start or where to end. So I'm just gonna pick it up and read and see what happens. So find a comfortable place to rest for a few minutes to really hone in on being present. If you're tinkering around your space, let your mind rest a little bit, or find your breath. Just do something that is to capture the moment that you're exactly in. Good morning, Cindy. And just pause for a second, feel your body, maybe look around, see what you see. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and exhale, let it out through the mouth. Let's do that a couple times to ground ourselves. In through the nose, out through the mouth. right, keep breathing and I'll read to you. My first real lesson in seeing took place when I was 22. Before I entered the hospital for my first month-long stay, I didn't appreciate how the smallest detail, like the vibrant yellow of a dandelion or the delightful snout of a daffodil, could provide such nourishment. I hadn't given any thought to the fact that once I was locked in a hospital room for weeks on end, I wouldn't be able to feel the breeze, the sun, the rain, that I wouldn't even be able to open the window. When I was finally discharged, the sensory experience was almost overwhelming. All my life, I had overlooked so much: the sky, breeze, trees, even the brilliant but ephemeral beauty of flowers were a given, something every day. I saw them, but I didn't see them. As Georgia O'Keeffe wrote, still, in a way, nobody sees a flower. Really, it is so small. We haven't time. And it takes time, like to have a friend takes time. To see takes time and practice. I think now of one of my greatest teachers in seeing, sweet Lulu, the shaggy red hound dog mutt that my family rescued from Tennessee. I found her on an animal shelter website a few years ago, and I sent the listing to my brother Adam, hoping he would give her a home. And he did, and he fell in love with her and began spending all his time taking her to different dog parks in New York City, training her to sit and stay, and she seemed to be thriving. But a few months in, she fell suddenly ill. When he took her to the vet, they said she had blastomycosis, a deadly fungal infection that is common in the river valleys of Tennessee. It was touch and go for a few weeks, but eventually Lulu pulled through, though she lost her sight. Afterward, my brother nursed her diligently, but in a newly blind state in a city like New York, she was terrified. Every skateboard that trundled by on the sidewalk sent her into a cowering panic. At every car horn, she clung to him like a life raft. As the days passed, the stress took a toll. She wasn't eating, she wasn't sleeping, she needed to leave the city. So Lulu came to live with me in my bucolic corner of rural New Jersey. At first, it seemed like a disaster. Lulu was eating and sleeping and moving around again, but she was also running into everything, every wall, every doorway, every tree in our backyard. I worried that she would injure herself. I talked to my neighbor Chuck, who loves dogs and also dabbles in inventing, about how I might help her, and he began dreaming up a device for her collar excuse me, that would beep anytime she neared an object. But before he had the chance to get tinkering, a small miracle began unfolding. Lulu started mapping our house and garden in her mind's eye until she knew every sharp corner, until she could gallop through the living room, tilting her torso to avoid the piano bench, the ottoman, the potted plant perched on the wobbly old pedestal. Not only that, she memorized the landscape of Chuck's woods, where I took her for a walk each morning. Soon, she was navigating the trees and the ponds. She knew when we reached the hayfield, huge and open, freshly mowed. There, she would run as freely as she wanted, without caution or restraint. I have learned so much about seeing from Lulu and from the other creatures around me. With each dog I've added to my pack, I see the landscape anew. When walking with Sunshine, my Chihuahua dachshund Mutt, the logs, which she has leapt over, come into view, and a twirl of the falling leaf too as she rears on her hind legs and dances to catch it. Same with snowflakes, same with rain. With my Black Lab River, it's the dense reedy grasses at the hayfield's edge and the pond they fringe, which I didn't even realize was there until River barged through the reeds, plunging into the water and emerged dripping. Simone Weil said that attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. It's also a kind of presence. I've heard it said that depression is an overfixation on the past and anxiety is an overfixation on the future. If that's the case, seeing is a bulwark against both, as it's a fixation on the now. I try to be present with whatever is around me and let that lift me, which wards off the temptation to time travel, either backward or forward. Given my health status and my likelihood of relapse, I have more reason than ever to fly forward to a terrifying eventuality, to engage in aggressive futurism. But even before I was sick, that was true. I look back at my journal entries from college and they're all aspirational. 5-year plans, 10-year plans, what will I be? I look back at those journal entries and they reveal something about me, about my relentless daydreaming, about my plans for who I wanted to become. But I wish I could read back and recall what was actually happening, what I was feeling in the moment, what parties I went to, how my professor responded when I shared about my first big heartbreak during office hours, or the funny way she tilted her head when she said the word patriarchy, or what the foliage on campus looked like on a fresh spring day. We remember the day we got into a car crash, but we don't remember the many pleasant drives we took and all the times we arrived safely at our destination. We live half-hour waking lives and all of our sleeping lives in some private, useless, and insensible waters we never mention or recall, says Annie Dillard in her essay, Total Eclipse. Useless, I say, valueless, I might add, until someone hauls their wealth up to the surface and into the wide-awake city in a form that people can use. I'll stop there. And what I think is so great about our mandala journals, at least I'll speak for my own, is that not all of them, but so many of them, because I'm taking time to just sit and be and either draw out kind of what I'm feeling or colors or write down words from a reading or draw what I'm looking at, I can often go back in time and remember where the moment is and was. Sometimes I write and that helps. You know, this one right here, this little LBJ, little brown job, BLM land overlooking Santa Clara near St. George, Utah. I can remember being there. And sometimes this one I don't remember too much. Actually, I think I do. I think I was with Deb during that one. Definitely influenced by Deb. We were sitting together at her kitchen table. So this helps me go back in time to imagine how I was feeling or what I was seeing. This was just from Christmas this year, and I believe, well, you can't really see it, but right there is a palm tree star, if I spin that way. So I was just right here enjoying my Christmas. Kathy is here. Hi, Kathy. So anyway, we draw. I start with drawing a circle with one complete breath. Kind of is it an Enso circle? Is that the right word? Where you just let it happen? Sometimes I go around and around and around. But lately I've just been doing one circle, and shockingly, they've been meeting up pretty well. I find that when I work at a table, it's a lot easier than when I'm working just in my lap. All right, catching up on a couple comments. Cindy has joined, and she's getting some hellos. Claudia said that was great. Thank you. And Pamela says, I look forward to getting to the seeing section of this book. That was lovely. Yeah, some sections I've found the prompts to be more helpful than others. The fear section was hard for me, but the seeing is how I don't know, I think that seeing the world that's how I like to live. I don't even know how to put words to what I'm trying to say here. Not just our actual visual abilities, but to really look at things and be a witness to them. And I like to do that, and I like to share that and encourage others to do the same. Claudia, I'm struggling with your handle today. I don't know why. I know that's you. Claudia says, you are like the early explorers that would draw their journey and write notes. Yeah, I love, in bookstores, there's kind of a trend of all these little field notes. I don't know if any of you have seen them. It's like field notes to, you know, the rocks of California, or to the birds of Arizona, or cacti, or whatever it is. And they're these illustrations that have facts and just cool illustrations. I feel like I could make one of those, and I would have fun doing that, except I'm so scattered that, like, and maybe that would be the interesting twist on it, to differentiate it from all the others, is the others are so focused about birds or plants or a region. Mine would just be like, blah, a little bit of everything. Oh, Claudia, I mean, I'm having a hard time with everyone's handles apparently today. Kathy says good morning, and she says, Claudia, she's in Santa Barbara. Kathy, I was thinking about you and your trip to Santa Barbara, wondering when it had been planned for, because I knew they were getting a storm. So it seems like you went after the storm. Holy cow. Which is why I'm actually still in Phoenix. We decided to not head right towards Southern California. It just didn't seem smart to take our van like into potential flooding and rainstorms when we had a perfectly cozy house to be in. So we're still here. We'll eventually leave Phoenix. I've got places to be. Pamela says, yeah, I've seen those nature journals. It's closely aligned with your mandalas on the road. Yeah, I am. I'm getting eager to get back on the road and draw what I see, where I am. It's finally hitting me that I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move again. Deb says, I find my mouse uniform circles are only counterclockwise. Circles, they're soothing for her. Interesting. I always go counterclockwise, and maybe it's a right-handed thing. Pamela, which way do you go? Carol, which way do you go? Yeah, Kathy says, I don't think I've ever drawn a clockwise circle. Cheryl says, yours would show the interconnection. You're right, it is all connected. Every little thing is connected. And Claudia says, Kathy, she's in LA. I did not know you were going to be in Santa Barbara. And then Kathy says, it's okay, we have a full agenda. Michelina says, what's the name of the pet sitting group you use to house sit? It's called Trusted House Sitters. Yeah, we haven't done a trusted house sit in a while, but we might look into it again. They changed their fee structure a little bit. It's still crazy affordable. You pay an annual fee, and then I think now every time you do a sit, you have a small fee to cover costs of, I don't know, internet hosting or something. So check it out. if you're interested in taking care of other people's animals, which I love. Deb says, my sweet nephew published a bird field guide with colored pencil drawings for me as a gift. He's 12. Oh, Deb, that sounds like a really sweet gift. And Kathy writes, oh, Deb, that's the best. Pamela says, I go counterclockwise too. Interesting, interesting. But my spirals are both directions. Carol says, I don't know. She'll have to pay attention which direction she goes the next time. Okay, please report back. And Claudia writes, enjoy it, Kathy. Santa Barbara is quite beautiful, especially when the sun is out. So much nature around. I know, I think Kathy's doing a house sit from another website called Kindred. I saw a headline article the other day about Kindred, and they said only like half of the applicants who apply for it are accepted. So Kindred is like a house swap. You let people stay in your house and other people stay in your house, and you get points and exchanges like that. And there may or may not be animals involved, I'm not sure. But they have an aesthetic that they're trying to reach. Cindy says, thanks for the reading. I asked for time spent with my family is my favorite holiday gift. That's what I love the most. And they all came through. It's the best gift now. I just love spending time with you all. Time really is a true gift. Truly, truly a gift. I find that the more time that I recognize that I have, the more I can even appreciate having the time. All right, Cheryl is weighing in on the direction of her mandalas, and she goes clockwise, and she's right-handed. So who knows? It all depends. Something to pay attention to. I'm going to try and go clockwise tomorrow and see what happens, if I remember. Deb says this reading was deep for me. Dance to catch it. And Miss M is here. She says hi. Good morning, Miss M. Carol says counterclockwise circles come naturally. And Miss M is sending hugs. Kathy says, love you all, gotta run. Oh wow, it is 9:29. We all have to run soon. Deb says, so nice to wake up to you and all, hugs all around. I think Deb gave us a word for her check-in, and it says dance to catch it. If anyone else has words for their mandala, I'm happy to read them before we part ways. I have not gotten super far in my drawing. I've just been talking, and the reading was a bit long, but I feel like it resonated, landed well with everyone. Ms. M says thanks. Ms. M, I don't know if you were here the whole time or if you're gonna have to try to catch us in the replay. Fingers crossed it uploads quickly today for you. This is my mandala thus far. This pink is so bright. It's so bright. Michelina gifted it to me like a half-used pan because she was on her way to case for making, and I love it, like these tiny little accents of it, or not so tiny accents. It's great. don't know, maybe I'll leave more. Maybe it's just something about the simplicity of seeing. It's one of our most overpowering senses, and yet I don't even think we're the best at it. We're so busy looking, but we don't take time to process. Oh, Cindy says time is the greatest gift. And Carol says, so true, Cindy. Yeah. I think that you are spot on there. Pamela has a list of words today. Clear edges, fuzzy center, not quite defined, moving in the direction of clarity. All right, everyone, it is 9:31. I've kept you a minute long. Thank you for staying. Thank you for joining. I'm gonna give you all such a big hug. Thank you for your time. It is a true honor and a true gift to have it and to start my days with you, whether I'm leading or not. So, sending you love for your day. I hope that you get a little sunshine, however your day pans out, and keep looking, keep seeing. All right, bye everyone.